To start off our reading lesson, we need to make a mind map. Now, your teacher may provide you a copy of this, but just in case that is not possible, I want to show you how to draw this thing. So, the first thing we want to do is take a look at our story that we're going to be reading. And I can see that this story has 6 paragraphs. These numbers along the left side are showing me the paragraph numbers. So let's go back to a blank sheet of paper. You want it to be landscape, which means it's long, it's left to right instead of tall, up and down. And in the very center of your paper, we're going to draw a rectangle. Now, my paper has dots on it just to help me draw straight, but you don't need dots. If you just have a sheet of paper of any kind, this will work. So I'm going to make a rectangle right in the middle, or I'm going to try. And we want it to be a pretty good size. I've had way too much caffeine today. So put your rectangle in the center, and then we want to make 6 circles to go with that, to go with those 6 paragraphs that we're about to be reading. So I'm going to make one circle, hopefully, and then I'll just copy and paste it. Yes, that will work just fine. So let me make a copy of this one, and you won't have to sit here while I do this, but you can draw this with me on your own paper. Let's put in 6 of those circles. The purpose of a mind map is to help you organize what you read. It's a tool to help you understand what you're reading a little bit better. And you can put those circles anywhere they fit. There's really no pattern. I'm just trying to fit them all in here. I do want to leave a little bit of room at the top for my title. But something like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just a sketch is fine. My computer allows me to draw circles that will snap to be perfect. But if yours are not, it is okay. That's not really the point of the exercise. So you have a mind map with a square or a rectangle in the center, and then 6 circles on the outside. So let's look back at our passage. And the skill that we're working on here, this is a high set skill or a TABE skill, but this is just a basic reading skill. I don't really know how you can even read anything without knowing about main idea and key details. If I could only teach you one skill, this would definitely be the reading skill. So this passage is about how dolphins communicate. So the first time I read through this, I'm just going to read and let this information soak in slowly. We're not doing any questions. We are just reading to let the information soak in. I encourage you to read slowly. If you need to take a break for a few seconds, that's fine as well. I would definitely give myself a little bit of a pause between the paragraphs, just to let your brain process the change from one paragraph to another. And then after we read it, we will go back and understand the skill that we're trying to learn here. So the passage is called How Dolphins Communicate. And I always like to take a look at the pictures before I start to read, because pictures are worth 1,000 words. If you can understand what they're showing you in graphics or pictures, sometimes you can get a lot more understanding about what you're about to read. So take the time to look at the pictures. And this particular one is showing me 2 dolphins underwater. They look like they probably know each other. They seem to be friendly toward each other. I don't see any other signs of life around, so I could maybe guess that this is some kind of pool and not the ocean. The fact that this picture is so clear also makes me think that perhaps this is from a zoo or something rather than in the wild. But I don't know that. I'm just making some inferences. Okay, how dolphins communicate. You probably know that dolphins make sounds, but did you know that they also listen? Dolphins use sound to communicate with one another. They use sound to tell what is around them. They can also use these sounds to find food and tell if other animals are nearby. Dolphins make different sounds. One of these sounds is a whistle. A whistle can last a few seconds. The whistles can have different patterns. Each dolphin has a unique whistle pattern to tell others where it is. Another dolphin sound is the click. It is a very fast sound. It is too high a pitch for humans to hear. Dolphins use the click for echolocation or natural sonar. This technique uses sound waves to tell what is around. Sonar works very well in water. That is because sound moves 5 times faster in water than it does in air. So how does dolphin sonar work? First, the dolphins make a loud click. The sound goes through the water. It bounces off an object in the water. The object could be another dolphin. It could be another animal. The dolphins listen for the sound to come back. This is called a reflection or echo. The echo can tell the dolphin a lot about the object. From the echo, the dolphin can tell the direction of the object. It can tell how far away the object is. It can even tell what kind of object it is. Dolphins are good at using sonar. Many scientists study dolphin sonar. They teach the dolphins to find objects made of different materials. For example, a dolphin can use its sonar to tell the difference between a golf ball and a ping pong ball. Today, people use sonar machines to find objects underwater or map the ocean floor. But dolphin sonar is much better. Scientists hope to learn more about dolphin sonar. Then they can make sonar machines that work as well as dolphin sonar. So the first thing I want to do is go back to my mind map. And up here at the top, I'm going to zoom in, I want to write the topic of my passage. Now, a topic is going to be a description of what the story is about in 5 words or less. And the 5 words is just my rule for finding a topic, because that will really help us to narrow down what we're talking about. For a topic, you want to really nail down just the bare bones of the story. So in my story, I remember hearing about dolphins. I remember hearing about sonar. Dolphins use sonar. And we have 2 words left that we can use. So can we add a little bit here? dolphins use sonar to do what? To communicate. And let's look back at our passage and I'll show you where I'm getting that word communicate. It's even in the title of the story. Titles very often give you topics. They will tell you what the story is about in just a few words. So this is about how dolphins communicate, and I'm using the word sonar because that word was used so much. So sonar is very important. Also communication, and we definitely want to talk about the dolphins. So as I look down through this story, I see the word sonar a lot. So that would be a word that I would want to include in my topic. So once I get that topic established, I'm ready to put in my main idea. And that's going to go right here. Now, when I learned to do this in school, my teachers made me do main idea first. I had to write the main idea and then come up with the details. I prefer to do it differently now that I have the choice. I like to look at my details and then come up with my main idea. You can do it either way. Whatever works for you is fine. But if I'm reading a passage, I do the details first and the main idea at the end. If I'm writing a passage, I do the main idea first and then the details. So depending on what you're supposed to be doing with this, you can do it either way. But since we are reading to understand, I'm going to save this middle piece for last. And if you imagine that this story that we're looking at, if we could picture that in the form of a table, this is going to be the tabletop. Okay. Now, if I want a really strong table, would I just put one leg under it? I guess I could if it were a really, really big leg, but generally speaking, the tabletop will be stronger with more legs underneath. So we're going to use that same idea to build out this story. So the first thing I'm going to do is look at paragraph 1, and I'm going to look at this first circle up here. Again, I apologize for my shaky hand. I've had a lot of coffee in the last couple of hours, so forgive me for that. Okay, let's go back over here to, I think I'm going to do something a little different right here. I'm going to bring this over so I don't have to keep scrolling back and forth. Okay, so paragraph 1, that's going to go in this first circle, my first detail circle. And so let's really dig into paragraph 1 and see what this is about. You probably know that dolphins make sounds. Okay, so sounds is an important word in this paragraph. We've already mentioned dolphins, but we could even highlight that one if we want to. So they make sounds, but did you know that they also listen? So not only do they give off sounds, but they receive sounds. And really, that's the definition of communication. Communication is a two-part process. We have to speak, but we also have to listen. Dolphins use sound to communicate with one another. They use sound to tell what is around them. They can also use sounds to find food and tell if other animals are nearby. So this paragraph is about how dolphins use sound and also how they listen, how they communicate. So we can say that they do 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go ahead and say 4 right here. There are 4 things that dolphins do with sound. So let's come back over here. They listen, they make sounds, and they do that for 4 reasons. They're communicating, they're finding out what's around them, they're finding food, and they're finding other animals. So let's come back to our diagram here and summarize that. So dolphins make sounds and listen. And that's that process of communication. That's really the definition of communication. If you think about people communicating, we speak and then we listen, and then we speak and then we listen. So that is that process of communication. And I've already forgotten my 4 things. I know one of them is communication with each other. So they communicate or they speak to other dolphins. Communicate with dolphins. They sort of have their own language. I remember one of the things is that they find food using sound. Now you notice that I'm not just looking back at my story every time, because I am teaching my brain to remember details. These are those little bits of information that I need to remember. I remembered that there were 4 of them. I know that they communicate with dolphins, they find food. I remember it talking about they use it to detect other animals. So not only are they looking for other dolphins, but they're looking for whales and sharks and other animals that could be around. And I don't remember the 4th one, so I'm going to look back to tell what is around them. So that first paragraph is telling me how dolphins use sound, what they're doing with that sound and listening process. Okay, so let's move to the second circle, and I'm going to see if I can do a better job here, and I'm not doing much better. But let's look at paragraph 2. Dolphins make different sounds. So again, we're talking about dolphins, no surprise there. Different sounds. One of these sounds is a whistle. A whistle can last a few seconds. Whistles can have different patterns. Each dolphin has a unique whistle pattern to tell others where it is. So this paragraph is talking about, in one word, what would you say? What's the word that keeps coming up over and over and over? It's the word whistle. So what are the details about the whistle? It can last a few seconds. It can have different patterns. Each dolphin has a unique whistle. So you would know which dolphin it is by recognizing the whistle. So a few seconds, different patterns, unique whistle. So let's put that into our mind map. And this paragraph is talking about a whistle. And there were 3 things. Can we remember them? I know that it can last a few seconds. So this can be used to send a long signal. I know that it can be, it is unique for each dolphin. So what that means is that each and every dolphin has its own whistle pattern. That's pretty amazing. And I don't remember the third one, so let's look back and see. Different patterns. That was it. So the whistles can have different patterns. You may have like a long, short, long pattern that means something special. So those patterns are sort of like a Morse code where they mean something different. So that was paragraph 2, talking about the whistle. And let's just review our topic. Dolphins use sonar to communicate. Okay, we've talked about dolphins and we've talked about communicating, but we haven't made it to sonar yet, but that's coming. So let me get another highlighter. I want to do each one of them in a different color. I encourage you to do this in your own studies. Color is a wonderful tool to help you. Okay, let's try this. Let me try again to highlight the orange. This will be my third one. So come back to paragraph 3 and let's read this one. And I can see here I've already highlighted that word sonar. So here comes the introduction to sonar. Another dolphin sound is the click. It is a very fast sound. It is too high a pitch for humans to hear. Dolphins use the click for echolocation or natural sonar. This technique uses sound waves to tell what is around. So I'm going to say sound waves tell what is around. Sonar works very well in the water because water is it moves 5 times faster in water than in air because water is much more dense than air. Sound travels best through dense things. So we're talking about the click, and we have it's very fast, it's very high pitched, and it's related to that natural sonar. And then we'll explain a little bit about sonar because that's important. But let me come back and get the first thing there. This time we're talking about a click, not a whistle. And we know that it is very fast. It's very high-pitched. Humans cannot hear it. It's sort of like dogs can hear very high pitches that humans can't. And then it is related to natural sonar. And a word that they use for natural sonar is echo. You know what echo means? It's sound that's bouncing back. And location. So they use that sound that bounces back or echoes to figure out where they are. That's the definition of natural sonar. But let's get those details about natural sonar. Sound waves work very well in water. That's why this works. Sound waves, this is a concept that's very important in science. They work well in water because water is more dense It's thicker than air. And that's just a good rule of science to remember, that sound waves will travel much faster through solids. They will travel through rock faster than they can travel through air. Okay, let's move on to paragraph 4. Let me get another color. I'll use yellow for this one. And try to draw it. And let's take a look at paragraph 4. So how does dolphin sonar work? First, dolphins make that loud click. The sound goes through the water. So that click sound moves through the water. It bounces off an object in the water. That could be another dolphin, another animal. Dolphins listen for the sound to come back. This is called a reflection or an echo. And that echo tells the dolphin a lot about the object. From the echo, the dolphin can tell the direction of the object. It can tell how far away the object is and what kind of object it is. Now, rather than flip back and forth, I'm going to try something here. I'm going to take a screenshot of that and just paste it over here, so I don't have to keep flipping back and forth. Let's try to put it right there for just a minute to fill in this circle. Okay, so first, let's just put it in step-by-step sequence. The dolphins give off the loud click. And you notice I'm not using sentences, I'm just making notes. Next, the click, that sound, travels through water. And that happens because water is dense and it's able to carry the sound. So that click sound is being sent out through the water. The next thing that happens, the click hits an object in the water and it bounces off an object. Maybe there's a shark out there, or a whale, or a stingray. Or maybe there's just something solid like a piece of garbage that the dolphin needs to avoid. So the sound bounces off that object. It bounces back toward the dolphin. And the dolphin is listening for that sound. So the sound comes back. This is the communication process. To the dolphin. Okay. That's the reflection or the echo. And from that bounce back, from that echo, the dolphin learns about the object. It can tell where the object is. It can tell the direction of the object. It can tell how far away the object is. So the distance. It can tell what kind of object it's coming up on. It knows if it's a friendly dolphin or if it's a predator. So just by listening for that bounce back, the dolphin can learn a lot of things about the object out in the water. And that is how sonar works. That's the purpose of that paragraph, is to tell us how the sonar works. Okay, we have 2 more paragraphs to go, and then we can come up with our main idea. We're getting there. Let me get another color. We used pink. I guess I'll use a light blue. I'm running out of colors, actually. So let me try to get that straight. And we'll look at paragraph 5. Dolphins are good at using sonar. Many scientists study dolphin sonar. They teach the dolphins to find objects made of different materials. For example, a dolphin can use its sonar to tell the difference between a golf ball and a ping pong ball. Now let's think for just a minute about the difference between a golf ball and a ping pong ball. Golf balls are solid, they're dense. Ping pong balls have holes in them. They're not solid, they're not as dense. So those sound waves bounce off of those two objects differently because of their density, just like water and air. The density of the object makes all the difference in the world. So this paragraph is talking about scientists studying dolphin sonar. And why would scientists want to do that? Why would a scientist care about dolphin sonar? They're teaching the dolphins, which is amazing in itself. Dolphins are very smart. The dolphins can learn to recognize different objects. But as scientists work with the dolphins and they teach them how to do these things, scientists are learning about the sonar of dolphins and how that works. So that will help scientists learn more about how to build sonar that mimics nature. The dolphin sonar is much better than man-made sonar. So scientists learn from the dolphins. All right, we have one more paragraph to do. And I guess I'll use gray this time. Not my favorite color, but I'm out of colors. Okay, so let's go back to our paragraph and read the last one. Today, people use sonar machines to find objects underwater or map the ocean floor. But dolphin sonar is much better. Scientists hope to learn more about dolphin sonar. Then they can make sonar machines that work as well as dolphin sonar. So this one is talking about man-made sonar. And it's sonar machines. And it talks about that it's used to map the ocean floor. It's also used to locate things underwater. I have a background in criminal investigation, and sonar is used a lot in criminal investigation. If there is, for example, a car underwater, if there is a stolen object underwater, even things like firearms that people have thrown into the water, sonar is very helpful in locating those. I have a friend who's an avid fisherman, and he uses sonar to locate fish underwater because then he knows where to drop anchor and try to catch fish. So scientists need these machines for underwater exploration. But they're using what they're learning about dolphins to make their machines better. Let me just double check that I got everything I did. Okay. Now, we have to come up with the main idea. And for me in school, this was always tough to do. I was much better with the details than I was the tabletop, that main point. But let's just review what we've done here. I'm just going to quickly read through all of the things I've written. My topic was dolphins use sonar to communicate. Dolphins make sounds and listen to communicate with other dolphins, find food, detect other animals, and tell what is around them. They whistle for a few seconds with different patterns, and each dolphin has its own whistle. They click very fast at a very high pitch. That is part of natural sonar or echolocation. Sound waves work well in water because of its density. Sonar works by, at least dolphin sonar works by, the dolphin emits a loud click, so it gives off a click. That click sound moves through the water, bounces off an object. That sound comes back to the dolphin and tells the dolphin the direction, how far away the object is, and what kind of object it is. Dolphins can even tell the difference between golf balls and ping pong balls. Scientists study that dolphin sonar. They teach dolphins and they learn from dolphins. And man-made sonar machines sort of mimic that process. They're used to map the ocean floor and locate objects underwater. So what is the main idea of this story in one sentence? And I'm just going to start writing, and if I have to cross off something, that's okay. Dolphin sonar actually, I don't want to use that word. I'm not going to erase. I'm just going to cross it off. Dolphin communication involves whistles, clicks, and natural sonar. End of sentence. Now, I did not talk about the scientist, and that's okay. I did talk about the sonar. That's in that blue circle. We talked about that. There should be something in each of these circles in the main idea. So let's look at each circle and see if we've made that work. Okay, in this first circle, the pink one, we're describing communication. So there's the word communicate. That's in the main idea. I mentioned a whistle. That's in the main idea. I mentioned a click. That's in the main idea. I mentioned a natural sonar. And even though I don't have anything in this yellow circle I do have the word click, but this whole yellow circle is describing that natural sonar. So we definitely have included that in our main idea. In the blue circle, we did not talk about scientist in the main idea, but we did talk about sonar. And in this last gray circle, we mentioned sonar. So you see how those little bits and pieces make up this main idea. Now, anything that is in the main idea should also be in the topic. So let's check that. We have dolphins. We have sonar. We have the word communicate. The word involves and use are similar words, so those definitely match up. And you see how all of these pieces sort of are woven together to give you the main idea in the middle and then the details on the edges. And that is a key component of reading comprehension. If you can read this passage and map it this way, you will remember what you read. Now, on a test, I don't have time to do this. I don't have paper and time to map all this out. This is a process that you do while you're learning to read and become a better reader. If you do this mind mapping enough, if you practice it enough, you will definitely become a stronger reader. And that's what this is ultimately about. But let's take a look at some questions related to this passage and see how well we understood what we read. Number 1, Part A. What is the main idea of the passage? What objects dolphins can see? Did it talk about dolphin vision at all? No. So let's eliminate that one. We're not interested in what they see. How dolphins use sound. How scientists use sonar. Where dolphins use their whistles. So all of these are mentioned in the story, but what is the main idea? Let's look back over here. That is this box. This doesn't mention scientists. It mentions dolphins using whistles, clicks, and sonar. So this one, it's not about scientists, not the main idea. D is close, but the reason it's not D is because we also have not just whistles, it also talked about clicks. So that is not the best choice. The best choice is B. How dolphins use sound. Which two details from the text best support the answer in Part A? Which of these best tell me how dolphins use sound? And we need 2 of them. How dolphins use sound. Dolphins use sound to communicate with one another. That is definitely one of my answers. The word use is a clue. They use sound to tell what is around them. That could also be one of my choices. It is too high a pitch for humans to hear. That's in the text, but that's not about how they use sound. It bounces off an object in the water. That's how they use sound. Many scientists study dolphin sonar. Again, we're not looking at scientists, we're talking about the dolphins. And I like that word use. Look for those common threads. How dolphins use sound, use sound, use sound. Find those common threads that run through the passage and the questions. Number 2, why do dolphins make a whistle sound? So I'm going to look back at my circle about whistles. They last a few seconds, they're unique for each dolphin, and they have different patterns. Let's look back here. Each dolphin uses a unique whistle pattern to do what? Tell others where it is. So I'm looking for something along that line. And look at option A. To tell other dolphins where they are. That is the purpose of the whistle. What is the main idea of paragraph 3? So let's look at paragraph 3. That's the paragraph about the clicks. So whatever we choose needs to be about clicks. And that may do it right here. A dolphin's click is a fast sound. Humans cannot hear the clicks. Sound moves faster in the water. Dolphins use clicks for sonar. So all of these, except C, mention the clicks. But what is the main point of paragraph 3? It's not just about the clicks. Look at what we start to see in paragraph 3. Sonar, sonar, sound waves. Sonar, sound. So we're looking for something related to sonar sound. And I like D, as in dog, for that one. Dolphins use those clicks for sonar. The other things are true, and they're mentioned in the passage. But what's the main idea of that paragraph 3? Number 4. Why are humans not able to hear the clicks that dolphins make? Is it because it's too short? It's too high? It can only be heard underwater? Or it travels faster in the water? It's because it's too high. Humans cannot hear that frequency. What is paragraph 4 mostly about? So let's go back to paragraph 4. It is about, it's the yellow one, it's about that natural sonar and how it works. How dolphins use clicks to find objects in the water. How dolphins communicate with one another. Why scientists study dolphin whistles. That's not it, because it's about sonar. Why scientists want to learn more about sonar. This is a tricky one. But paragraph 4 is mostly about how that sonar works. How dolphins find objects in the water. I like A for this one. How they find objects in the water. Number 6. What is the main idea of paragraph 6? The very last paragraph about man-made sonar machines to map the ocean and find objects underwater. What sounds dolphins make to communicate. How dolphins can tell objects apart. How humans want to make sonar as good as dolphins. Or how people use sonar machines. They use them to map the ocean floor and find objects underwater. Which sentence from the passage would most likely be included in a summary? Summary is going to be this. Which of those statements covers all of this? That's the summary, the whole thing. The whistles can have different patterns. It is a very fast sound. Sonar works very well in water. or dolphins are good at using sonar. I like both C and D for this one, but I'm going to go with D for the simple reason that C does not mention dolphins. And this passage, this whole story, is about dolphins. So if you leave out that word, you've left out a really important piece of this story. I hope this has helped you to understand a little bit more about main idea and details. I also hope that the mind map helped you. This is a very good tool, but you have to practice it a lot for it to work correctly. I will be covering a little bit more about main idea when we look at some math problems in just a minute. We won't be making a mind map, but we will still be using main idea in details in our math lesson that's coming up. So I'll see you soon for that one. Bye-bye.